Sean and I did not live together before we were married, and that really worked out well for us. So we are going to talk about that while he dyes my gray hair.
See you later, Grace. Solo, why didn't we live together?
Well, I don't think it was like a super conscious decision on either of our parts. It's just like the way that it happened to work out, because we were long distance. So I was in Canada and Sean was in LA. And then when I moved back to LA, we just immediately got married and moved in together. So we did both of those steps at once.
Yeah, and for you, that was like a really big decision because you'd never lived with anyone, but I had lived with someone. So it was kind of like I knew kind of what to expect from it.
Living with Sean was the first time I had ever lived with a romantic partner. And like during my adult life, I just never had a serious enough relationship to get to the conversation of like, should we move in together? And I don't know what I would have done had my life worked out that way. I was just never faced with that decision. So you had lived with someone before, I hadn't. So we're coming in with two different perspectives. What do you think was one of the pros of not living together before we were married?
I think it gave us something to like really look forward to the whole time. Made everything feel like new, like we're gonna go get a new plant or even a can opener, like something like so small like that just is like, oh, we're doing it married.
It really felt like newlyweds.
Exactly.
And it felt like a big change to go from dating to married. And then after like the hype of the wedding, it was kind of nice to sort of have this little hype of like learning all this new stuff about each other and doing all these little things.
Waking up with each other and having coffee with each other. It's nice.
Yeah, everything felt so special.
Yeah.
And so different. It was like, oh, we're married now. It really felt like we were married.
But I do think if you live with someone before you're married, I don't think you really miss out on that. I just think it happens earlier.
Yeah.
And it's just in a different order.
Yeah, totally.
Ooh, see you later, Grace. I see you and I get you.
Do you think that there were any cons to not living together before we were married?
I think we got really lucky that we kind of live the same and we communicate the same. Whereas I think that if you didn't, you'd be like married and you're like all of a sudden like, wait, I really don't like where they put their toothbrush and do all these things and could kind of get on your nerves. But yeah, I think we got lucky.
It kind of scared me a little bit because I feel like I've heard horror stories where people are like, I'm so in love, this person is so compatible with me, and then you move in together and you see this whole other side that they hid the whole time, and then they can't hide it once you're living together.
Exactly.
Once we lived together, was there anything that you were like, ooh, this is not good?
Honestly, I don't think so. I honestly just like loved being around you and loved doing things with you and laughing with you.
I think sometimes I hear some negativity about not moving in together before you're married because it can feel like, oh, how can you possibly know? Like, how could it work if you don't know if you can live together? But I really do think that this is one place where there's no right or wrong answer, and it's just sort of whatever works for you.
Everyone's so unique.
Yeah. So that's our story about not living together before getting married. And now we live together and do stuff like this.